Before the forest screamed, there was a whisper. Not from lips, not from lungs, but from something ancient. Something watching. And in that whisper, there was a name. A name no one should ever say aloud. But someone did. And the moment it was spoken, the eye opened. They found the body hanging upside down in the old church bell tower. Still warm, still smiling, still blinking. But the worst part wasn't the body. It was what was growing beneath the skin. An eye. Wet. Yellow. Alive and staring. They burned the body, but the eye, it didn't close. And that was just the beginning. There are places in this world that don't exist on any map. Places spoken of only in fragmented folklore, half-erased police reports, and trembling voices behind bar counters. Places like Raven Hollow. No cell towers, no power lines, just a black forest that seems to stretch for miles, as if the world forgot where it ends. And buried deep within that forest lies a name passed down like a curse. The village of Yellow Eyes. It began innocently enough. A map, hand-drawn on yellowed parchment, found in the basement of an estate sale in Salem. There were no coordinates, just trees, twisted symbols, and a warning in Latin. Oculus tertius decimus non clauditur. Four grad students took it as a challenge. Elliot, the eager folklore researcher. Mara, a thrill-seeking photographer. Liam, the cynic who laughed at ghost stories. And Gwen, the quiet one, who didn't laugh. Because she had always seen things others didn't. They thought they were chasing a forgotten myth. They were wrong. They were being invited. They arrived at Raven Hollow just before sunset. Fog clung to their clothes like fingers. The village looked untouched for decades, but nothing felt abandoned. At the center stood the old church. Its bell tower leaned dangerously. Chains bound the doors. Cat statues lined the courtyard, all facing the church. Each one had empty sockets. They explored slowly. Gwen kept her head down. Liam kept making jokes until his flashlight died. And when it flicked back on, he swore for a moment he wasn't holding it. Something else was. That night, Mara took pictures. At first, the statues were just stone. But in the photos, the eyes stared back, glowing, blinking. She screamed. By the time the others rushed over, she was gone. Only her camera remained, still recording. They searched the village all night. Gwen kept whispering, "It took her." When asked who, she just pointed to the church. In the footage, Mara's face appears one last time. Behind her, a shadow. Tall, cat skull, burning eyes. From that night on, they weren't alone. Gwen spoke in her sleep, chanting in forgotten tongues. Liam saw things in mirrors that didn't match reality. Elliot started scratching his chest. He said he felt something growing beneath. He showed Gwen the skin over his heart, where a faint yellow glow pulsed beneath the surface, like something breathing. They found a hidden passage beneath the altar. Inside, a stone crypt lined with salt. A feline mummy lay there, its eyes gouged wide, carved into the wall. The eye still sees you. They learned the truth from an ancient journal. The villagers had made sacrifices, 13 children, to seal a gate, to trap something that sees. But the 13th child survived, changed. It became the eye, and the eye never closes. Gwen began drawing symbols on her arms. "To stop it from entering," she whispered. Liam tried to flee the village, but found himself always returning to the same street, as if the forest bent in on itself. One by one, they vanished. Gwen into the woods, Liam up the tower. Both found days later. Eyes missing, bones twisted, smiling. Only Elliot remained. He rang the bell, spoke the last words, and the forest screamed. Then silence. They say the trees around the church died that night. The fog lifted, but no animals ever returned. But the journal didn't mention everything. There was a 5th student. Her name was Sadie. She wasn't on the trip. Not officially. She was Gwen's roommate, invited last minute, and largely forgotten in the retellings, because Sadie came back. But she didn't come back whole. They found her 3 months later, barefoot, and muttering in an abandoned rail tunnel outside of town. Her hands were covered in Latin script, scrawled in her own blood. Her mouth sewn shut with black thread. By her own doing, they think. Doctors called it psychosis. Said she'd snapped after losing her friends. But the symbols she drew, they matched the ones from the map. She never spoke, not a word. Until one night, years later, when the power went out at the hospital, a nurse found her staring at the wall, whispering just 2 words. "It's watching." Since then, Sadie hasn't aged a day, and the eye on her back, it still blinks. A year after Elliot's disappearance, hikers found a camera. One clip remained. Elliot, standing before the burned church, smiling, saying, "I closed the eye, it's over." But just before the clip ends, he turns and under his collar, a yellow eye blinks. Narrator whispers, some doors should never be opened, some gods should never be named, and some eyes never close.